Of all the European automotive groups, the Volkswagen Group could be in trouble the most. Why? They have by far the most debt. Debt is a big, big problem. They're about to spend about $100 billion on new factories and new production lines for EV production. And they just raised their prices when others are decreasing theirs. Combine that with contracting sales and their worst sales in more than 10 years, and we could have a perfect storm for the Volkswagen Group. And when I say perfect, I don't mean it in a good way. In 2022, Volkswagen Group plus their German counterparts, BMW, Mercedes, and Audi, all had their sales decline and decrease. And this is actually a trend in Germany now. I've got to say, I think it is quite concerning. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome back, everyone else. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting the channel. It's great to have you. 2023, it's going to be an amazing year. I'll be at Fully Charged, which is the world's biggest electric car show in London in April. I think it's April the 28th and the 29th. So I'd love to see you there. I'll also be at the Fully Charged show here in Sydney. That's in March, and then again in San Diego in October. So come up, say hi. Love to meet you. BMW Group and Mini worldwide sales last year, 2022, 2.1 million. That's a decline of 5.1% versus the COVID-affected 2021. Mercedes-Benz, 2.04 million. So as you can see, BMW just beat out Mercedes. They only contracted by 1%. However, Audi, their sales were down 4% with 1.6 million units. It seems very, very likely that Tesla will surpass Audi in worldwide sales in 2023. In fact, it's almost a guarantee. Now, what about Volkswagen Group? Well, the Volkswagen Group's annual deliveries fell 7% to their lowest numbers in more than 10 years. Group deliveries fell 7% to 8.3 million as China's COVID-19 lockdowns and the war in Ukraine hit their supply chains like never before. Volkswagen Group have reported their lowest sales in over a decade in 2022 as COVID-19 lockdowns in China and the war in Ukraine, they say, have caused supply chain chaos. I mean, they're saying the chaos is crazy and they apparently are having bigger problems than other car companies with getting products and parts supply. And really pretty good reason here, right? Pretty good reason, pretty compelling reason why it's good to do what Tesla and BYD both do. Try to be vertically integrated as much as possible. Now, neither of those companies, in particular Tesla, are really claiming they're fully vertically integrated because no one is. But as you can see, Tesla and BYD seem to have had very little problems increasing their sales in 2022. They both went up dramatically, way higher growth in those companies than obviously these contracting German car companies. The whole group of Volkswagen, whose brands range from mass market Volkswagens and Skodas to premium Audis and Bentleys, said on Thursday in a statement that demand dropped 7% to 8.3 million vehicles last year. Sales of fully electric cars fared better, however, rising 26%. But the majority of that was in China. For example, Volkswagen sales of EVs in Germany actually declined in 2022 versus 2021. However, the ID.4 and the ID.5 were Volkswagen's best-selling models. Overall sales tally indicates the group will remain in second place globally for the third year in a row behind Japan's Toyota Group, which by November had produced 9.5 million cars, meaning they're well ahead. Volkswagen Group sales rose 14% in the fourth quarter, but the outlook for 2023 remains looking pretty fuzzy, challenging. And the reason is that weak economies and supply chain shortages, extended executive sales committee member Hildegard Wortmann said. Now, basically, Volkswagen have another challenge on their hands. They are trying to ramp up EV production, but the cost is expensive. So whilst Tesla is reducing the price of its EVs, Volkswagen has done the exact opposite in many countries around the world and actually increased the price of its EVs this year versus last year. Audi, Lamborghini, and Bentley weathered 2022 better than the Volkswagen brand itself, and Skoda, with deliveries down around 4% at the premium brands and down 9% for Volkswagen Group's mass market vehicles. So Volkswagen brand itself down 7% in 2022. Audi brand down 4% in 2022. Skoda down 17%. Porsche up 3%, but Porsche do have a bit of a challenge here. The EV sales have slumped. Gasoline-powered sales have obviously increased a little bit to get that 3%, but EV sales are now going down. Demand for the Taycan seems to have cratered recently, unfortunately. Seat, 232,700 sales, minus 41%. Cupra, 153,000 sales, up 93%. And interestingly, the Cupra brand are really the main brand under the Volkswagen Group, selling more electric cars than any other by percentage of cars sold. Bentley, 15,174. That's an increase of 4%. And Lamborghini, 9,233, an increase of 10%. The Volkswagen Group's deliveries were up 12% in the second half of the year, but the full year figure was dragged down by a drop of over a fifth in the first half. However, they still maintain their position as Europe's top electric vehicle manufacturer, and they saw a 26% rise in EV sales globally, boosted by an increase of almost 2/3 in China. So there you have it. Basically, Volkswagen Group is making a lot more EVs in China. That said, I don't know how they're going to go in China. It's a really tough market for electric vehicle sales. It's going to be a really tough battleground for vehicle sales permanently, period. But it's really important for Volkswagen. 50% of their profit comes from China. So we'll see how that plays out this year. I don't think it's going to be as positive for Volkswagen Group as many of the fans would say. A lot of fans will say that they're doing really well. The EV sales in China, that's great. They need that. They do need it. But you've got to remember, the competition are very, very compelling. BYD, so many brands there in China as alternatives to Volkswagen EVs. And the reality is, in China, if you look at all the surveys, people say they don't perceive Western vehicles as being EVs that are really all that good. That's what they say. Still, the group is aiming for all electric sales in 2023 to be 11% of the total sales, a stepping stone to its 2030 target of making 50% of all sales fully electric. Now, I personally think if they only make 50% of all sales fully electric in 2030, they will lose a huge amount of market share. The company will contract massively, and that's a big problem because Volkswagen has the second most debt of any car company in the world. They have more than 180 billion US dollars of debt, and actually that's the second most debt of any company in the world, period. That's just astronomical. So if they do lose a significant number of sales, say for example in China and elsewhere, particularly because only 50% of their cars sold in 2030 are going to be EVs, then they will have a very difficult time even just repaying their interest debt on those debts. Here's a list of the Volkswagen Group's best-selling EVs. The ID.4 and the ID.5, 193,000. That's worldwide. ID.3, 76,600. Skoda Enyaq, 53,700. The Audi Q4 e-tron, 52,800. The Volkswagen ID.6, 37,400. The Porsche Taycan, 34,800. And the Cupra Born, 31,400. Now, I think when we examine the success or the failures of other car companies, we have to keep some context here, right? If you've increased your sales as a company in 2021, you've done really well. I think we're being a bit too critical on Tesla when you look at what's happening here. BMW contracting 5%, Volkswagen Group contracting 7%. Therefore, maybe we need to look at really the way Tesla is going in light of how other car companies are going. When we have that context, well, we can see BYD and Tesla are just absolutely crushing it. You can see why really I predicted they'd be the two biggest car companies in the world by 2030. That said, we do need Model 2 production to start, and considering what's just happened in China, yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Now, if you haven't seen my video about that, I'll put a link in the description below. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.